1 of every 3 bites of food eaten worldwide depends on pollinators, especially bees. And last week, 7 types of bees native to Hawaii became the first bees ever added to the U.S. federal list of endangered and threatened species. And you might respond by saying, but Eleanor, that means that they'll be protected now. Yeah, you see, the problem with just putting something on a list is, well, it's a list. And you can't just put something on an endangered list and hope real hard that whatever got it there in the first place will stop being so mean. Just look at polar bears. Indeed, in a press release celebrating the decision, Matthew Shepard, communications director for Xerces, the insect conservation organization that began the study and originally pushed for the yellow-faced bees to receive federal protection, in his press release, Shepard adds that, quote, unfortunately, the U.S. FWS has not designated any critical habitat areas of land of particular importance for the endangered bees. So in other words, there's no safe space for the bees, to use the parlance of our times. But what would a safe space even look like? Well, for one thing, it would be devoid of pesticides. Numerous studies done over several decades have produced a consensus that bee die-off, in particular colony collapse disorder, is strongly linked to the use of pesticides, specifically neonicotinoids. So much scientific consensus that back in 2013, the European Commission banned the use of 3 neonicotinoid pesticides in direct response to bee die-offs, stating that any seeds or soil treated with these pesticides will be, quote, prohibited for crops attractive to bees. Later that same year, a bit behind the common sense curve and always without spine, the EPA released an EPA bee advisory box, letting anyone who reads the label know that this product might kinda sorta kill some bees. So, I guess spray responsibly? A bit like those short taglines at the end of liquor commercials, please drink Jack Daniels responsibly. Only thing is, by definition, you can't drink Jack Daniels responsibly, and by definition, you can't fucking spray pesticides responsibly. Luckily for bees, and for those of us who like to eat food, at least in Minnesota, Governor Mark Dayton picked up where the spineless EPA left off and about a month ago announced the broadest restrictions on pesticide use to date in the U.S. The executive order covers 2 main areas. 1, that farmers must verify that they face, quote, an imminent threat of significant crop loss in order to use neonicotinoids, and 2, that the Minnesota Department of Agriculture pursue the creation of a new treated seed program that would provide the state with the authority to regulate seeds treated with pesticides, a power that currently rests with the aforementioned spineless EPA. This last part is particularly important because, as we have already established in this week's show and several others, corporations enjoy an embarrassingly little regulation with regards to effect on people and planet, and because treated seeds are the most common way in which neonicotinoids are used. Seed sovereignty, the struggle continues. And while Minnesota's decision is indeed strong and necessary, allow this depressive, broken record to remind you that it's up to us to push it to fruition. Same with the recent addition of yellow-faced bees to the endangered and threatened species list. Really, it's a fucked fact that they are even eligible to be on there in the first place. But whether they ever come off of it is up to us. And if you like food and want to join the fight for bees, there are a multitude of ways and organizations you can look into. Indeed, March Against Monsanto is one of them. But whatever course of action that you look into, I think that we can all sort of safely say that the fucksticks who put a measly piece of paper between big ag and the future of our food, or for that matter, allow billions of gallons of fracking wastewater to be dumped into the Gulf of Mexico, along with other egregious environmental oversights, are not the ones to directly lobby when it comes to environmental protection, making their name cause for this meme, followed by this sound.
You low-life scum.